Good morning, friends. I am Yogesh Sarode, Assistant Professor of English, Jivanikas Mahavidyalaya Deogram. I heartily welcome you all in this session. In the last session, we had seen the analysis of our first lesson, Playing the English Gentleman by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. In this video, we will see and discuss some important issues of the lessons. So, be attentive. Friends, Playing the English Gentleman is actually an account of Gandhi's efforts to mingle in English society. For being the English gentleman, Gandhi does several things, such as wearing all things like he wears a new coat, suit, tries to learn dancing, violin, elocution, but all in vain. After some days, he realizes that he is a student and he has gone with his studies. This realization makes him aware of his studies. So he stops trying to become the English gentleman and begins to concentrate on his studies. This is the core part of this lesson. Now, few questions may arise in your mind that what were the initial reasons because of which Gandhi took to vegetarianism. So, I think Gandhi explains his love for vegetarianism. Gandhi read some books and vegetarianism and did experiments with his diet also. Health was his principal consideration for taking up vegetarianism. This is the main idea that he gives preference to his health, and he was convinced that vegetarianism is healthy by reading many books and doing experiments on vegetarianism. So these are the initial reasons he preferred vegetarianism. Now, second point may be worry of Gandhi's friend about Gandhiji, that why Gandhi is stick to vegetarianism. So reasons may be he or his friends thought that if Gandhi objected to eating meat, he would not grow strong. Eventually, Gandhi would become weak as he was eating only vegetarian food. His friend loved him so much that he wanted Gandhi to mingle in English society. He was sure that a man who didn't eat meat could be an outcast in English society. His friends also worried that Gandhi would become a crank by reading books on vegetarianism. He would become mad just by reading books on vegetarianism. He should prefer non-veg. So was the worry of Gandhi's friends. Now this is interesting, the episode of Holborn restaurant. This is an important topic of this lesson. I will focus on this. Gandhi's friend were determined to put a stop to his vegetarianism. One day, Gandhi's friend invited Gandhi to the theatre. Before going to the theatre, they had to dine in a high-class restaurant. They think Gandhi would not ask any question in a palatial hotel. As the soup was served, Gandhi called the waiter to know whether it was vegetarian or not. Before the waiter could answer, his friend said that Gandhi was too clumsy for a decent society and allowed him to eat at some other restaurant, vegetarian restaurant. So this actually happened in that restaurant. But Gandhiji never talks about the episode that happened in Holborn restaurant even after his friends gather out of the restaurant. Now, if we talk about Gandhi's style of dressing, I will focus on this issue also. Gandhi wanted to please his friend and assure him that he would no longer be clumsy and unsuitable for English society. He got new clothes at the army and navy stores as his Bombay cut clothes were unsuitable. He bought a top hat for 19 shillings. He also paid 10 pounds for an evening suit made in Bond Street. He asked his brother to send him a watch with a gold chain. He learned the art of wear a tie and started spending time before a mirror to arrange his hair. So, this was the devotion of Gandhi to develop his style while living in England. Now, the next point that comes in mind is why Gandhi decides to give up dancing classes. Was it his decision, or it was somebody forced him? So, to this point, I will clarify. Gandhi changed his style of dressing and started taking dance classes, dance lessons, learning French, and attended classes to learn French and elocution. He did all this to behave like an English gentleman. He found out that he could not achieve rhythmic motion and follow the piano. So he wanted to learn violin to understand Western music. After some days, he realizes that he's a student and he ought to go on with his studies. His decision is justified as he stops trying to become the English gentleman and begins to concentrate on his studies. Friends, next question is very important. Though it seems on surface level, but the meaning, there is another current underneath it. The question is, Mr. Bell rang the bell of alarm in my ear and I woke up. So on surface level, the bell is a physical bell. Okay, it rings and someone hears. Gandhi also arises, awakes, but that is not physically. He awakes from the path from which he has strayed. So I will comment on this like Gandhi changed his style of dressing and started taking dance classes, learning French and attended classes also to learn French and elocution. He did all this to behave like an English gentleman. He paid a preliminary fee of a guinea to a teacher to teach him elocution. The teacher suggests Gandhi to buy Bell Standard Elocutionist as the textbook. As he begins to read a speech of Pitt, he realizes that he is a student and he ought to go on with his studies. Gandhi describes the realization as Mr. Bell rang the bell of alarm in my ear and awoke. So, though Mr. Bell reminds Gandhi to read these books, but actually Gandhi reminds that he is strayed from his path of becoming barrister while living in London. He just wasting his time in just trivial matters, dancing classes, piano classes like that. But his main goal is something else. And here, then afterward, he concentrates on his studies. Next point that comes in my mind is that what were the steps Gandhi take in a new direction after he had decided on concentration on his career. So, to this point, I will state as he begins to read a speech of Pitt and from Bell Standard Elocutionist, he realizes that he is a student and he ought to go on with his studies. He should qualify himself to join the Inns of Court. He also realizes that his character should make a gentleman of him. He writes letters to his teachers to excuse him from further classes. He meets his violin teacher personally, explains his position. She also encourages him in his determination to make a complete change. He stops trying to become the English gentleman and begins to concentrate on his studies. So these are major questions. Again, I think how Gandhiji's faith in vegetarianism grew. That we'll see. Gandhiji was a strict vegetarian. He read several books on vegetarianism, learned that all philosophers and prophets from Pythagoras and Jesus and even in the present age we're also vegetarians. So why not we? Religion also plays an important role in Gandhiji's faith in vegetarianism. So main focus of being a vegetarianism in Gandhiji's life was that he read all books of great persons from Pythagoras to Jesus. He also think that great stalwarts, prophets preferred vegetarianism and became healthy. So we must follow that. Now, as far as habits and attitudes of Gandhiji are concerned, this is also important. To this point, I will focus. Gandhi's habits and attitudes were at variance with those he faced in Britain. First, he was a strict vegetarian. He continues being a vegetarian till last. While remaining in Britain, he had to feel uncomfortable with his friends due to that. His friend also tried to make him eat meat, but Gandhiji's belief in being a vegetarian becomes stronger because he reads several books on vegetarianism. He also tries to become an English gentleman by taking lessons in dancing, French language, and elocution, but he learns that it was all unnecessary. Now, what are implications for Gandhiji's life? This, I think, is also important questions. To keep away the rats, the recluse had to keep a cat and then a cow to feed the cat with milk. He also had to keep a man to look after the cow. Gandhi also did the same thing. To become like an English gentleman, he started taking lessons in music, dancing, to learn French and elocution. He had to pay money for those lessons and to buy several books also. But later on, he thinks that it is all unnecessary. So, we'll see the last question. The title, Playing the English Gentleman, will comment on that also. Here, the title of the lesson suggests that one should not imitate others. One should not imitate others' culture blindly. The use of the word playing indicates that Gandhiji was also imitating. So in the beginning, you may confuse. Playing the English gentleman does not mean playing with the English gentleman. It means imitating like the English gentleman, or to act like an English gentleman. So we all know Gandhi went to England to become barrister, and while living in English society, he had to change himself according to that English society. So in doing so, for some time, it seems that he has forgotten his main goal, and he was wasting his time in trifling things. So after reminding of bells, he comes to know that my main goal is something else. I must concentrate on my studies and should not just act like an English gentleman. So, acting like an English gentleman is valid, will be applicable as far as my stay is there in England. But when I will return to India, this dress fashion, this elocation will not be useful to Indian society. So, the title Playing the English Gentleman, I think, is valid. Thank you, friends. If you have any query, you can mail me also. In the next session, we will see another lesson. Thank you. Good day.